Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you all for joining us today to learn about the 4-H Self-Determined Project. My name is Lauren, and joining me here today is Jarrett. Hi, Jarrett.
Hi, Lauren.
I will be picking Jarrett's brain in an interview-style session so he can share his self-determined project knowledge with us all. So let's get started. Jarrett, what is a self-determined project?
Yeah, so the 4-H Self-Determined Project could be titled the 4U Project, for that is exactly what it is. This self-directed project allows members to take on an out-of-the-ordinary type project, focusing on a topic that isn't already offered as a defined 4-H project option. In this project, members will choose, plan, carry out, and evaluate a project on a topic of their choosing. Project possibilities are unlimited, but here are a few examples. Your project could be something you create with your hands. Maybe it's a leisure activity you're interested in, such as winter sports. It could have a community service focus, or maybe you focus on an art, music, or a hobby you're interested in. Again, the possibilities are unlimited, so it's advised that the member and leader work together to determine the project focus.
A question that often comes up is, what is the difference between a self-determined project and a senior management project?
Yeah, that is a great question and probably one of the top questions we do receive. So as I mentioned just a minute ago, that self-determined projects focus on topics that aren't necessarily related to an established 4-H project option. And so that's the biggest difference. So while self-determined projects are standalone, and we'll get into the different types of self-determined units available next, senior management projects are a unit within a respective 4-H project. For example, a member might complete a senior management unit in the beef or sheep project, whereas self-determined projects are standalone and not directly related to another 4-H project area. So if you are planning a senior level project, but not sure where it fits, contact a youth development staff member, and we're happy to work with you to determine where your project idea is best suited. So let's continue. So there are 3 types of units within the self-determined project that members can participate in. So I wanted to discuss each of these a little bit further. The first is the junior self-determined project. So this is an individual project completed by junior age 4-H members. It's completed over 4 to 6 months, and satisfactory completion of the project will result in achievement. The second is the group self-determined. And this project is conducted by 2 or more 4-H members of any age, so it could be a combination of junior and senior members within the project group. Again, this project is completed over a 4 to 6 month period. Each member within the group must complete individual project records. We'll talk a little bit more about record keeping in a bit. And satisfactory completion will result in achievement. The final type of self-determined is the senior self-determined project. And this is an individual project completed by a senior 4-H member who holds a junior proficiency certificate. 20 to 21-year-old members are eligible to complete senior self-determined projects. And this unit is a little different than the others, as it is completed over a 10 to 12-month period. For senior self-determined projects, a 75% mark is required to earn a self-determined project certificate. And the reason for this is that successful completion of senior self-determineds can be used towards earning external high school credits. We'll get into more detail on this in a little bit later.
So Jarrett, you've mentioned the different project length requirements for each unit. Why is there such a big difference in this requirement?
Yeah, so the time requirement is related to the external high school credit opportunity. Because senior projects can be used towards credits, and I will discuss the specific requirements later, a high standard must be maintained. This program operates in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, and therefore an advanced level of quality and effort is expected in project completion towards high school credits.
So how does a member get started?
So the best place to start when considering your options for self-determined is to review the project-specific resources. The Self-Determined Project Regulations is the first one I wanted to discuss. This publication points out all the necessary regulations and requirements for a member to take on a self-determined project, and it also outlines each of the units that are available, which we discussed on the previous slide. The Self-Determined Project Guide is a resource that is a wealth of information and a must-read for anyone considering the self-determined project. This publication explains the who, what, why, and hows of a self-determined project and will be an important resource for members and leaders as you work through each stage of the project. Next is the self-determined project approval request. And this is a new publication that was introduced this past fall to help streamline the application process for these projects. This publication provides a template to create your project plan. If you have participated in self-determined previously, you may be familiar with the old application process, but moving forward, all project proposals should be made using this form. We will discuss this aspect of the project in more detail next. The self-determined record book, rather, is another new publication that was introduced this past fall as well. And so the record book will be the base for members to complete their project record. Like other project record books, this publication provides a template for what is expected in completing a quality finished project record. Of course, each project is going to be unique, so members are encouraged to add extra pages and items to best suit the needs of their project. The self-determined project scorecard is next, and this includes the evaluation criteria for both the project leader and youth development staff person. This is a good resource for members to familiarize themselves with to ensure their project meets the completion expectations. And finally, this is not a 4-H publication, but one of the best resources available to you, and that's to talk to other members who have completed self-determined projects previously. You can certainly learn a lot from your peers. So each of the publications that I've just discussed are available for download by visiting the 4-HBC website. So once you've reviewed the project resources, you're ready to put your ideas together in choosing a project. We won't spend too much time on this as every idea and project will be unique, but you may want to consider the following. What do I enjoy? What am I good at? What have I done? And what do I need? The self-determined guide is a great resource to help you work through each of these questions and establish your focus. It is advised that both the member and project leader work together in determining the project topic. This will help to establish attainable project expectations and goals.
How does an interested member apply for this self-determined project?
Right, so one unique aspect of this project is that it must be approved by youth development program staff prior to starting. So there are several reasons for this, but one of these is to ensure project plans set out reasonable expectations that are achievable within the project period. Our staff will work with the member and leader to flesh out the details of the plan prior to project approval. As I mentioned previously, the application for self-determined projects is completed by working through the self-determined project approval request. It is very important that all components of the application are filled out completely and accurately. Now, I won't go through each of the application components today, but wanted to highlight a couple areas to keep in mind. First, the written plan for the project. This includes several basic questions about your ideas and focus. This includes why you chose the project, what your goals and objectives are, and what resources you will need to be successful. It is important that members think critically about all aspects of their project in completing their proposal. The monthly plan is what you will use to set up your project year. Meet with your leader and decide which ideas and activities you will cover. Arrange your ideas so that there is a progression, and determine what will be completed over each month of the project. Again, it's important that the member and leader work together in designing the project. Leaders, please ensure that all pieces are completed before submitting a project application. Finally, I did just want to make an important note with regard to group self-determined projects. So all members within a group must complete the basic member information. So that's your name, contact information, project leader, etc. Beyond that, the group may work together to complete the written and monthly plan and submit one project outline for the group, but every member of the group needs to be registered within that project. Once you've completed the application pages, it's time to submit your project proposal for approval. Carla Berry manages all self-determined projects and will review your application. The application should be sent directly to Carla, either by mail or email to the addresses provided here. Now, one very important piece of information I wanted to mention is the application deadline. So as you can see here, normally this is scheduled for March 31st of the project year. However, given the current situation, the 4-H BC Provincial Council has extended the deadline until May 31st of this year. So please note, this is only for 2020 self-determined projects. If you're watching this video and it is not 2020, be sure to verify the application deadline date by talking to your leader, key leader, or contacting the 4-H BC office. So once your application is received, it may take several weeks to review and approve. If there is a specific date you plan to start your project, be sure to leave time for the approval to be completed. It is very important to note that all self-determined projects must be approved by youth development staff prior to starting. Once you are approved, make sure you are enrolled in a self-determined project and the appropriate unit through your 4-H BC registration.
How does a member complete their project?
Right, so again, every project is unique and how you complete it will vary member to member and project to project. That being said, I wanted to share a few recommendations to help you best complete a project. So be part of club meetings each month by introducing your project at the start of the 4-H year, keeping your club up to date on your progress. Refer often to your monthly plan. Your plan may change slightly from what you originally planned, and that's okay. But referring often to your plan will help you keep on track and achieve the goals you set out at the beginning of the year. In completing your record book, keep good records of all that you do and work on your record book often. Include any relevant extras, such as handouts, charts, graphs, financial summaries, etc. Everything and anything pertaining to the completion of your project. If you have larger files, such as videos or slideshows, including a flash drive with your record book is a creative addition to your project. Take and include lots of pictures, and don't forget to include captions. Pictures help the person marking your book to get a good feel of the project. We know that you put a tremendous amount of work into your project, so show off all that you've done with pictures. Refer to the project scorecard. This will help to ensure that you're completing all that needs to be done to ensure your absolute best possible mark. And be mindful of neatness, spelling, and accuracy of information. Your final mark will be reflective of these things as well. And finally, I just wanted to include another note about the group self-determined project. So each member within the group needs to complete their own project record book. Of course, there's going to be similar aspects to other members of the group, but each record book should be individual and unique. So every self-determined project record book is going to be unique, and not all pages within the record book may be applicable to your project. Additionally, you're going to need to add extras to complete your project record. That said, there are 5 elements that must be included in your finished record book, no matter your project. And these include the monthly project record. So this is used to summarize your progress by reporting on important project activities each month. Achievement presentation. Self-determined projects may be exhibited at a club achievement day, but could also be done in other settings. Either way, your finished record book needs to include a written report on how you shared your project with others and what you learned. Next is the project story. So here you write a story of your project year. Here you will discuss your successes and mistakes, what you learned, and who helped you. Photo album. I mentioned this before, but again, include lots of pictures from throughout your entire project year. And finally, the self-evaluation. Conduct a critical review of your project at year end. Self-evaluation is an important part of completing your project, so take some time to reflect on all the work you've done and be thorough and detailed in doing so. The leader also plays an important role throughout the duration of the project. So meet with members monthly to provide ongoing encouragement and direction on the project. Help to keep members focused and on track, which includes keeping project records up to date. And include meaningful written and dated comments in the member's record book. Leaders are required to provide monthly comments on project activities in the record book. These are not only helpful for the member, but to the person evaluating the project as well.
What happens once a member has completed their project work?
So once the record book is complete, the next step is for the project leader to complete their evaluation. This evaluation accounts for 30% of the final mark. Again, it is important to provide meaningful and constructive comments in evaluation. What did the member do well? How could they improve? Please be detailed and thorough in your evaluation. After that, the next step will be to submit your completed project for staff evaluation. Now, how you submit your finished project is the same way you applied for a self-determined project, by sending to Carla Berry at the address listed on your screen.
How does a member achieve in a self-determined project?
So once the project has been evaluated, the record book will be returned to the member with the final mark. This is a combined score from the leader, 30%, and staff, 70%. Now, depending on the project unit, successful completion of a self-determined project can result in different award opportunities. For junior and group projects, satisfactory completion will result in achievement. For senior level projects, however, members require a 75% mark in order to achieve a self-determined project certificate. Now, leaders, please do not submit a record book if you don't think it'll pass. Work with the member to improve it first, then submit. So successful completion of a senior self-determined, as I mentioned earlier, can be used towards earning external high school credits. Now, please note that senior members participating in a group project are not eligible for external credits. They must complete an individual 10 to 12-month project. So how this works is that a completed senior self-determined project, in combination with a project pin certification, qualifies the member to earn an honor pin, which equates to grade 12 external credits. By completing the honor pin certification, members can earn 8 external high school credits, 4 in grade 11, and an additional 4 in grade 12. For more information on this valuable opportunity, check with your leader, district awards coordinator, or refer to the 4-HBC Award Opportunities Guide for more information. So that's all we have for you today, but if you are looking for any more information, I strongly recommend reviewing the project-specific publications, including the Self-Determined Project Guide, Regulations, and Project Approval Request Form. Additionally, if you have any questions, certainly ask your club leader or district key leader about opportunities in the Self-Determined Project. And further, Carla will be happy to help you out and assist with any questions you might have as well, and she can be contacted at the phone number and email listed on your screen.
Well, that certainly was informative. Thank you, Jarrett, for all of the helpful information. And thank you to everybody for joining us today. Again, if anybody has any further questions about the Self-Determined Project, you can contact Carla Berry using the information on your screen here. Have a great day, everybody, and we will see you next time.